Today I have a video for you guys with some information regarding the Diablo Immortal update that's coming on the 30th that has not been heard before. This is stuff that's new coming to the game, and if you were following me over the past week's time, we've been digging into those Chinese patch notes and really pulling out some information and assuming some things. Turns out some of our assumptions were correct, other ones were a little off base, but today we know exactly what's coming to Diablo Immortal in this update. I'm going to take you through all of it with footage of everything. So the update that we're seeing is called the Forgotten Seas expansion, or at least it's what it's kind of set as right now. This is going to include a new dungeon, which takes place on a boat with a new sea monster that you have to battle. The battles look pretty epic. We're going to show those a little bit later on, as well as a new PvP mode, which has been long awaited inside of the game. Details on that coming very soon as well. There have also been some updates regarding just some quality of life things and easier ways for you guys to be able to upgrade stuff and progress your accounts throughout the game. Why don't we dive into a couple of those right now and then get into the real guts. Plus, didn't even mention this yet, new gear. And no, I'm not just talking about new legendary items for particular classes, but we have new type of gear and new legendary gems too. So a couple of the quick and easier things to get them out of the way. You're going to get ornate chests. They're going to be dropping one monstrous essence. So this is going to make our monstrous essence every single day a little bit easier for the hydraulic altar, so we can kind of progress there, get those battle points, and progress more easily, more quickly. Quests are going to start rewarding more experience, and Shadow Wars, if you win, or I believe if you lose as well, you're going to be getting more experience and a guaranteed legendary piece of gear, which is great because actually in my last few Shadow Wars I have not gotten any legendaries, so it'll be nice to be able to grab some. So the defending of the vault has changed, and this benefits for both. If you are defending the vault and you're victorious, you're going to get a bunch of hilts, gold, XP, I believe, and also scrap materials. And if you're raiding the vault, the enemies that you encounter are going to start dropping stuff, so you're going to be able to get gold, you're going to be able to get gear and stuff like that, and maybe a legendary item as well from raiding the vault. And if you're raiding the vault, monsters that you kill along the way are going to be dropping items. So you're going to be able to get gold, gear, maybe even some scrap materials just from raiding the vault. Rewards for being an immortal have enhanced as well. Some of the chests are going to give you more experience. They're going to give you hilts and some random items along the way. So it's going to be a little bit more reward for you being the immortal. And for the Rite of Exile, you're going to be able to get rewards, whether they're winning, losing side. You're going to get legendary items, guaranteed rewards. It's going to be better overall for everyone from the reward standpoint, because really that's some of the motivation here to play. Now let's talk about the new dungeon coming to the game. So the new dungeon is the Dread Reaver dungeon, and as I mentioned, this takes place on a boat. Now the boat is going to be filled with dead seamen that are essentially part fish, part zombie, and part person. So it's going to be a brand new enemy that we're encountering. There's also some big bloated ones as well, which are like sea captains or something like that, if I remember hearing it correctly, which are just big enemies that you have to fight on this boat. But it all comes down to the big boss, and we talked about last week in some of the Chinese patch notes some octopus-like beast. Well, we have some footage of the actual battle against this beast, and it does have tentacles. You are on a boat and you have to fight through as this enemy throws his tentacles on top, trying to smash you. The battle looks incredible, and I'm really happy that this dungeon takes place in something completely different. Being on a vessel for the entire battle seems really cool. I don't yet know what the rewards are going to be for it, if you're going to get 15, 20, 25 of that battle point progression for it, but either way, it's a new dungeon, which is really cool because dungeons are things that we revisit over and over again versus a new zone that you'll really only go visit if you want to farm there because it's a good place to farm if you're doing the story for the first time, or if your bounties happen to take you there. So new dungeon, I'm all about it, and as you guys can see from the footage, it looks pretty epic and it's going to be something fun to experience. Now, we mentioned PvP, and this is the biggest thing here. Now, it has been heard from representatives of Blizzard that this is the biggest thing that they have undertaken in a long time. They built out a massive system for this PvP. So I would anticipate over time, not only are we going to see this mode from PvP, but maybe even more can come from it. And this has to do with the Cursed Towers. Again, this is stuff that we kind of spoke on lightly last week, but now essentially what's going to happen is you and your clan, remember clans are important, are going to be fighting over these towers to take control of the towers. Now, as you can see from a lot of the footage, there is more than one tower. I believe there are 100 towers at the launch of all of this, all which can be held by different clans. Now, these towers are going to hold buffs. So if you happen to take a tower, all of the towers will have different buffs, by the way. You can then, for your clan, by owning that tower, have that buff for your clan, which is incredible. These buffs come in all different forms, whether it could be either for gathering or whether it could be out if they're out there for battle mechanics as well. I can't tell you specifics there because, to be honest with you, I don't remember the actual specifics, but there is so much buffing that you can get, and you could hold down multiple towers. Now, towers are season dependent. You could hold them for the season. You could open up your tower for a battle to enhance the rewards that you get from that tower over time, or you can just hold it, not battle, and you'll maintain the buff that the tower offers. But as I mentioned, seasons, well, they're coming to Diablo Immortal in this form of PvP. So essentially, to earn or to get one of these towers, you're going to be doing a PvE, a player versus environment battle, and also PvP. So you're fighting the environment along the way, and at some point in time, you're going to encounter enemies that are other players. You're then going to battle it out, and the winner is then going to make their way to that tower and claim it. There's also seems to be other towers that you can claim along the way for positioning, which will possibly give you buffs along the way. That's not confirmed, not 100% sure, because like I mentioned, or let me mention it, we haven't gotten a chance to actually try this out as creators for Blizzard. We just have gotten an idea of what's coming. We saw some video of what's coming, which you guys are seeing now, and we're kind of interpreting it a little bit for ourselves. Now, the seasons are 2 months long, which means after 2 months, everything is going to be reset. No one's going to own towers, and you're going to have to go into those battles again. Remember, if you hold a tower down on day 1 and decide to never open it up to battle, you can hold whatever buff that tower offers you. So if it offers a 2% crit increase for your clan, they will hold a 2% crit increase for the entirety of the 2 seasons. So 60 days, they're going to have that buff, which is another way that your character can be buffed in different way than others, that people aren't going to be able to have all the exact same builds. They're not going to have all the exact same buffs, and things can really differentiate quite a bit based on the towers that you own. And again, as I mentioned, you could own more than one tower. Now, it's important that we mention this is not a Shadows versus Immortal event, which I am so happy about, right? Some people don't care at all about Shadows or Immortals. They're literally Shadows for the extra rewards, and that's it. So this is a clan-based event. So as I said, and as DM said last week, it's really important that you get your clan going and on top of things, because you guys are now going to be battling for buffs that you're all going to be able to hold. So get your clan in order. Make sure you got people in there that are active. And if I don't in my clan, let's get them out of there so we can get people in there that are ready to fight. Now, you can see from the footage that there are a bunch of towers. I believe they mentioned there were going to be 100 towers at the launch of this. Well, there's going to be a slow rollout of more towers over time. So as time goes on, there could be more towers. There could be different buffs with the towers, and there could be different battles, I assume, for those towers along the way. So we're not exactly seeing what we were asking for, right? We're not seeing a battle mode where it's just fight. There's still objectives, and this is an objective-based mode, but it is definitely different than Battlegrounds. And no, we don't know how the matchmaking works. We don't know if combat rating is gonna come to effect here. And if we do know, well, I don't know. So we'll find out really soon, because we're gonna get it in our hands really quickly. But it's going to be really interesting to see how this stacks up to Battlegrounds, because Battlegrounds, a lot of us feel, is pretty broken right now. Hopefully the system that they use is a little bit more balanced, which means it would be a little bit more fun for all players. So now I mentioned that we're getting a new kind of gear. This new gear is called Cursed Gear, and this gear is different than any other gear that we have, because it's going to be able to give you buffs to a lot of your skills and abilities as your character class. But also with those buffs, there is going to be a negative attribute to it. Now, I've also heard that you can upgrade this cursed gear and you'll be able to enhance those buffs. Not sure if the negatives will also be enhanced as you upgrade this cursed gear. It's pretty cool. There's a new gear coming to the game. It's going to be a very different feel, because typically you get your legendary gear, it's going to give you a buff and it's going to make you stronger in a way. Here you have to counterbalance that with the negatives that come along with it. So one of the examples that was given to us was in one of the pieces of cursed gear. When you have your summons come onto the battlefield, you'll do some kind of a roar, which is going to do 125, 130% damage on top of the spawns coming out. But the negative there is going to be something about the positive effect duration being negated by a few percent. So this means that maybe your spawns or whatever the effect of that skill are going to be stronger, but they're going to last for a less amount of time. Now, just hearing that without testing anything out, it seems like, okay, I'd rather them be out there and be stronger, but for a few seconds less. But we're going to have to see. And like I said, this is just one example of all of the gear. Remember though, they have to bring out gear for all of these different character classes. All different classes are going to have different gear with different abilities. And if you have summons gear, you're really only going to want to use that if you're a necromancer, so very class specific. Now, also in this update, we heard nothing about the new Blood Knight class. There was no word of it, no talk of it, so it seems that that is not and confirmed to not be part of this, unless there's an Easter egg that they haven't shared with any of us. Yeah, we're not going to be seeing a Blood Knight, but there are 3 new legendary gems coming to the game. I can't tell you too many specifics about the gems because I never wrote down any notes on that, but there is going to be a new 1-star, a new 2-star, and a new 5-star gem. And as before with the 5-star gems, when you're running your Elder Rifts, you can click the option to give yourself a better chance of receiving those as 5-star gems. So if it's a gem that you'd like, that you plan on using with your build, you could have better chances of having those drop when you use your legendary crest in your Elder Rifts, and you could essentially upgrade them more quickly, or have the chance to, and because your luck is going to be better. So quality of life upgrades, new gear, new gems, new dungeon, and a new PvP mode. This could quite possibly be one of the biggest updates we've seen yet inside of Diablo Immortal. I can't wait to get involved in it. I'm going to be definitely live streaming when this does drop, so make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on the live stream, because I'm going to be able to get my hands on this as quickly as possible, and I want you guys to see what's up. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and are excited about the Diablo Immortal update. Let me know your thoughts down below, and if there's anything that I missed that you heard of, or basically word on the street that you're unsure of, ask me in the comments, and if I can confirm it with you, I will. Hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'll see you back here tomorrow.